My name is Ruth Avery. I teach second grade at Mount St. Mary's School. This is the 4th year my class has participated with Saluting New Readers, Jerry Martin's program for encouraging reading, and we love it. This is the second time this year this second grade class has participated. Hope you enjoy it.
Hi, my name is Derek Icarius, and I'll be reading Scooby-Doo and the Haunted Castle. Like, where is everybody? Shaggy asked. Everyone stay calm. Cliff called just a power failure. Oh. Chives, we'll get some candles. Chives, someone struck a match. A candle was lit in the darkness. It slowly moved a luminary, a ghostly face. It looked like Norman Montgomery. Velma cried. The ghost face was plain. His skin looked wrinkled and shaggy. There was no mistake. It was Montgomery. It was Norman Montgomery. Like I told you guys, this place was haunted, Shaggy said. The ghost began to speak in a shrieky voice. Montgomery Castle must remain in our family. I curse every stone in this castle, and anyone who dares to remain here after midnight, leave this place now and never return. What happened to my great-great-grandson? Your only warning. The ghost blew out the candle. Suddenly, Cliff screamed. Then there was the sound of a door slamming. What's going on? Mary Moore Redding yelled. A million mountain left. The lights came back on. Cliff was gone. Everyone called for him, but he did not answer. Shaggy looked over saw the Scooby-Doo was also gone. Oh no, the ghost got Scooby. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to know how the story ends, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Kristen and I'm going to read Chocolate Fever. There are some people who say that Henry Green was really born but was hatched fully grown from a chocolate bean. Can you believe that? Anyway, this particular Henry Green we are speaking of was really born, not hatched, and had a wonderful mom and dad in the bargain. His father was tall and lean and wore eyeglasses except when he was sleeping or in the shower. Mama Green, whose name was Enda, was a short, slim woman with blue-gray eyes and a tiny mouth that always seemed to be on the verge of a smile. Then all lived in an apartment in the middle of the city, along with Harry's older brother and sister. Mark Green was 10 and tall and very good to Henry. except when they would argue, which was often, and then he would hit Henry on the head with anything that was handy, which sometimes was hard, but mostly Mark was fun to be with and only got angry when Henry called him Marco Polo. Mark didn't like that, and who could blame him? Henry's sister was very, very old, almost 14. She didn't ever argue with Henry or Mark. In fact, she hardly talked to them at all because she was so old and wise and almost grown up. Her name was Elizabeth. The other morning, which was a school day at the end of the week on Friday, Henry, Mark, and Elizabeth were at the table in the dining room having breakfast. Mark was eating fried eggs. Elizabeth was quietly chewing on her usual breakfast, a buttery toast and milk, and Henry was midway through his usual breakfast too. Chocolate cake, a bowl of chocolate cake, a bowl of Cocoa Crispy cereal, and milk with chocolate syrup in the milk to make it more chocolatey, washed down by a big glass of chocolate milk, and 5 or 6 chocolate cookies. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to know how the story ends, check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Chandler, and I am going to be reading The Great Brain. Aunt Bertha identified herself as the tattletale as we entered the kitchen. I thought it best to telephone you, Tina, she said. And it is a good thing you did, Mama said, placing her hands on her hips. Calling Tom and me by our full names was bad enough, but I knew Mama was just as angry as she could be when she placed her hands on her hips. Tom Dennis and John Dennis, I am thoroughly ashamed of you both. Mama said, you should only be 10% ashamed of me. I defended myself. I'm just a barker and only get 10% of the gross receipts. To take part in anything that is wrong, even 1%. Mama reprimanded is just as bad as 100%. Tom folded his arms on his chest. What is wrong with using my great brain to make money, he demanded. You heard your father say yesterday that everybody would be admitted to see the water closet, Mom said. I do not recall your father saying only adults would be admitted free and children would be charged a penny. Now hand me those crayons in your hip pocket. Tom reluctantly handed Mama the box of crayons, and she used a red crayon to draw a line through the words 1 penny and printed the word free instead on the sign. Then she handed the sign back to me. Now, John Dennis, she said to me, let me see you call it, and ringing the cowbell as you were putting into it a few minutes ago. Papa isn't going to like this one bit, said Papa. Tom said. Papa says it is brains that count and not muscles. When he finds out you made me give up a money-making scheme, my great brain thought up, he is going to be mighty angry with you, Mama. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to know how the story ends, check it out at your local library.
My name's Chris, and I'm about to read If You Take a Mouse to the Movies. If you take a mouse to the movies, he'll ask you for some popcorn. When you give him the popcorn, he'll want to string it all together. Then he'll want to hang it on a Christmas tree. You'll have to buy him one on the way home. You'll see a snowman in the neighbor's yard. He'll want to make one of his own. Then he'll need a carrot for a nose. When he's all finished, he'll decide to build a fort. He'll ask you to help him. Then he'll want to make snowballs and have a snowball fight. Playing outside will make him cold. He'll want to go inside and curl up on the couch. He'll ask you for a blanket. Once he's nice and cozy, he'll want to listen to Christmas carols. You'll have to find some on the radio. He'll probably sing along. Then the carols will remind him of his Christmas tree, so he'll want to make ornaments. You'll get him some paper and glue. He'll ask you for glitter. When the ornaments are done, he'll hang them all up. Then he'll stand back to look at the tree. He'll notice the popcorn string is missing. So he'll want to make another one. He'll ask you for some popcorn. And chances are, when you give him the popcorn, he wants you to take him to the movies. Thank you for listening to me read.
Hi, my name is Nick, and I'll be reading Pirate School. Pete's family was a lot like other families. Every morning, his mom and dad got breakfast. His baby sister watched Jolly Rogers, and Pete rode the bus to school. Pete went to school on a ship. The ship was called PS1. The PS stood for Pirate School. Pete learned to add by adding up gold coins. He learned to subtract by making classmates bump the plank. The kids at PS1 were as hard as nails, and so were the rules. Rule 1, don't cry over spilled milk. 2, last one there is rhyming. 3, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Pete liked everything about Pirate School. Well, almost everything. He hated Grizzly Granny
the 13th. The kids called him Grimy, and Grimy hated Pete right back. "You're too little to lift the anchor," said Grimy. "You're too big to get through the hat," said Pete. You little shrimp," shouted Grimy. "You big ball," shouted Pete. "Stop that," yelled their teacher, Captain Bones. Captain Bones did not like kids to call each other names. "Act like big pirates," he said, "and fight it out." So they did. "Who won?" "I did," said Grimy. "No, I did," said Pete. At pirate school, the biggest day of the year was treasure hunting. Captain Bones held up a map. "The treasure is hidden here," he said. "X marks the spot. Find it and you get to keep it." "Finders keepers," hissed Grimy. "Losers keepers," whispered Pete. All the kids rowed to the shore of Skull Island. Pete and Grimy fought all the way. "I'm going to find the treasure first," said Grimy. Thank you for listening to read. If you want to hear the end of the story, you can check it out at your local library.
My name is Casey Martinson, and I'm reading Troubled Times 10. The cool water closes over Ben's head, shocking him. He panics for a moment, holding his breath as his arms thrash frantically. Then he feels strangely calm. Surely his parents saw him fall over the dock and rush to lift him out of the river. He looks up at the sun. Is there high above him, a bright spot filtered by the wavering watcher. All he has to do is move towards it, expecting his father's face to appear there beside the sun at any moment. Reaching down for him, Ben moves his arms and legs, trying to move himself upward toward the sun, toward the air, but he has never had to swim before and he doesn't know how. Thrashing wildly, now he wants to scream, but is afraid to open his mouth. His lungs feel as if they're about to burst. Feeling mud beneath his feet, hope surges through him. He can push himself toward the surface now. He bends his knees and pushes himself up. With all his strength, but his feet sink into the soft mud and he floats upward. Only a short distance. Then his exhausted arms reach hopelessly toward the sun. He coughs out the air he has held in his lungs all this time and watches it to shriek toward the surface. In huge dancing bubbles, he gulps in the murky, bitter water of the Nile, and all goes slowly black around him, fading. And then Ben is gasping, unsure where he is. One hand gropes around him for something, and what he finds is his blanket. He touches the thing he is sitting on. He tries to stop his loud gasping. He hears his father snoring. He is not in the Nile or even beside it. He is on his own sleeping mat on the floor of the family's home near Ramses in Egypt. If you want to know how the story ends, you can check it out at your local library.
My name is Andrew, and I'm going to be reading Mrs. Pigglewiggle's Magic. Of course, the reason that all the children in our town like Mrs. Pigglewiggle is because Mrs. Pigglewiggle likes them. Mrs. Pigglewiggle likes children. She enjoys talking to them, and best of all, they do not irritate her. When Molly O'Toole was looking at the colored pictures in Mrs. Pigglewiggle's big dictionary and just happened to be eating a candy cane at the same time and then forgot to shut the book so the pages all stuck together. Mrs. Pigglewiggle didn't say such a careless little girl could never ever look at the colored pictures in my big dictionary again. Nor did she say you must never look at books when you are eating. She said, let's see, I think we can steam those pages apart, and then we can wipe the stickiness off with a little soap and water like this. Now see, it's just as good as new. There's nothing as cozy as a piece of candy in a book. Don't look so embarrassed, Molly. I almost drool every time I look at those gems. Which one is your favorite? I think mine is the lapis lazuli from Dickie Williams, who was showing off in Pepsi by riding in his wagon with his eyes shut, crashed through Mrs. Pigglewiggle's basement window and landed in the coal bin. Mrs. Pigglewiggle laughed so much she had to sit down on the front steps and wipe her eyes with her apron. Dickie was awfully scared, for he was going to sneak out the basement door and go home. But Mrs. Pigglewiggle, still laughing, leaned through the broken window and said, hand me the putty knife and that can of putty on the shelf, and then go get me that pane of glass leaning against the wall over there by the furnace. Thank you very much. Now watch carefully, Dickie, because putting in window glass is something that every boy should know how to do, especially boys who ride wagons with their eyes closed. When Marilyn Manson, who was helping Mrs. Pigglewiggle serve tea, dropped and broke her brown teapot, she said, well, that's the luckiest thing I've ever known. You didn't get a drop of hot tea on you, and you broke that nasty teapot with the leaky spout that I've hated for 15 years. Tomorrow I'll go to town and buy a new one. I think I'll get pink. I'm going to test the spout before I buy it. But what about the tea, says Marilyn, wiping her tears on her sleeve. Make it in the coffee pot, said Mrs. Pigglewiggle. We'll call it toffee. Thank you for listening to me read.
If you want to know how the story ends.
If you want to know how the story ends, check it out at your local library.
My name is Morgan Shepherd, and I'm going to be reading Chelsea the Shetland Pony, Chapter 3. After Emma's writing lesson, Mrs. Lennon came into the house for a cup of tea. They all sat at the kitchen table as Mom passed around the cookies. Always remember to bolt the gate properly, said Mrs. Lennon. Otherwise, Chelsea will open it. He's a very clever pony. At that moment, Chelsea trotted right in to the open kitchen door. He skidded across the floor tiles with a clatter of hooves. He went straight for the table and lunged at the sugar bowl, sending the milk carton flying. Mrs. Lennon fell off her chair with a bump. Before anyone could stop him, Chelsea was crunching a mouthful of sugar cubes. Chelsea, you naughty boy, Mrs. Lennon pulled herself to her feet. Always remember to bolt the gate properly, said Mom with a laugh. Emma giggled. Come on, Chelsea, said said Mrs. Lenny led the way outside. As you can see, Shelty's a determined pony. There's not much she can't do. Opening gates is his specialty. They took Shelty back outside. Mrs. Lenny led Emma how Mrs. Lenny showed Emma how to lock the gate properly and how to fit the rubber pin in place to prevent Shelty from sliding the bolt across. Shelty was frisky and watched all this with great excitement. At the far end of the field was a little shelter made of stone. It looked like a little shelter in little house. This is Shelty's field shelter, said Mrs. Lenny. Emma rushed inside. Shelty followed, looking very pleased with himself. Inside on the back wall was a feeding trough. This is for Shelty's pony mix. 1 small scoop a day, and this. If you want to finish the story, please check it out at your local library.
Hi, my name is Bridget and I'm going to be reading Shoes from Grandpa. Late one summer, Jesse's father invited all the family over for breakfast. When Grandpa saw Jesse, he stood back and said, "My, how you've grown. You'll need a new pair of shoes this winter." No, but thanks a lot, Grandpa. Then her dad said, "I'll buy you some socks from the local shop to go with the shoes from Grandpa." And her mom said, "I'll buy you a skirt that won't show the dirt to go with the socks from the local shops to go with the shoes from Grandpa." And her cousin said, "I'll look for a blouse with ribbons and bows to go with the skirt that won't show the dirt to go with the shoes from Grandpa." And her sister said, "I'll get you a sweater and a leather sweater to go with the blouse with ribbons and bows, to go with the skirt that won't show the dirt, to go with the socks from the local shops, to go with the shoes from Grandpa." And her grandma said, "I'll find you a coat that you can wear on a boat, to go with the sweater and the leather sweater, to go with the blouse with ribbons and bows, to go with the socks from the local shops, to go with the shoes from Grandpa." And her aunt said, "I'll knit you a scarf that will make us all laugh, to
To go with the coat with ribbon, and to go with the coat that you can wear on the boat, to go with the sweater when the weather gets wetter to go with the blouse with ribbons and bows. To go with the skirt that won't shed the dirt, to go with the if you want to hear the story and check it out at your local library.
What do you love?
Reading!
And where do you go to school?